Okay, there we go. Hi, everybody.
Hello.
Hey, it's Tim and Bob from Precarious Pixels.
With a totally normal opening.
With a totally normal opening. Right now, you've heard the opening music, and you're expecting the normal screwed up opening, but not this time. We actually did it right.
No, we're even going to point it out so that the next few times when we screw it up, you'll know.
That's right. But we've been out in this last week playing games, watching a few new things. There's some other stuff we want to talk about later. But really quickly, we're just going to give you a rundown of our stuff during the week. So, like we said in the last podcast, Bob has just started playing Watchdog Legion.
Yeah.
And so now you've been with it for another week. You've probably played a few more times.
Well, I hadn't even had a chance to play it last
week. Oh, you hadn't even cracked it open
because
yet?
it came out the next day.
Oh, okay.
But now I played it.
But now you've played it.
And it's pretty great. It's it still has that problem that they always have where you don't know if it should feel... The fun doesn't belong in the areas it's in.
Okay.
But it's a blast. I've had a ton of fun just messing around, going around the world, finding new recruits for DedSec, the name of your group.
Right. But I guess, really quick, for people that don't know what Watchdog Legion is, I guess the basic concept is...
So, Watch Dogs Legion is about a group of hackers, hacktivists, if you will.
Yes.
Called DedSec that are framed for a large-scale terrorist attack on London.
Right, like a bombing that, Several bombings, but they actually did no part of it, but then...
They tried to stop it.
Right. But they got blamed for it, and now the government kind of shut them down and arrested most of the members, except for, a few. Yeah,
there's one member and an AI that... but aside from that, you're brought in as somebody that was a likely recruit.
Right.
The first character you get is chosen... you can choose from, a group of, I think it's 12 people.
Okay.
But I chose the one that had the ability to call in a spider bot.
Okay.
Right away, because you can get all the abilities in the game.
Right.
But you have to find different points to do that.
Right.
It's weird.
Right. So now the main part of your story is recruit a new team.
Yep. Find out who was involved with this other bad hacker group.
Right.
And these take down this evil gang. This awful PMC.
Right.
Or private military corporation.
Exactly.
And stop London from being taken over by awful people.
Like a police state that would try to,
It's definitely got some police state vibes.
Some 1984 kind of stuff.
Yeah, there's a lot of cameras. But that's always, that's London anyway.
Right.
I think there's cameras everywhere in London.
There's CCTV stuff, yeah. Yeah, I think they have quite a few, covering London.
Which is probably why they chose that.
Right.
Because I know that's the thing. I think it's every street has them.
Right.
Every street corner. Which is weird because you wouldn't think... you don't think of London as crime-filled as somewhere like New York. You always think New York is crime.
Right. But, I think they have... in New York have CCTV cameras. I don't know if they have as much coverage as London does, because I know but London is another thing where it's there's I think Manhattan kind of there's that main London area, and then it kind of grows out and out and out, because London's a pretty big city. Yeah. Just the same way New York, people say New York, but it's which borough is Manhattan or Brooklyn or whatever. There's different areas.
Oh, yeah. The London Eye is in the game.
The London Eye?
Mm-hmm.
Nice.
Yeah, I've encountered it. I'm going to recruit, hopefully, a guard outside of, oh my god, why am I blanking on the name? Buckingham Palace.
Buckingham Palace? Are we going to say one of those guys with the big black hats?
I just want for that.
Yeah.
That's going to happen. I found them.
Right.
But I haven't had a chance to recruit them. I was doing another thing then. I don't think I even tagged them. I didn't get close enough because every time I got near them, I was getting spotted by other people, and it was not good.
Okay. And that's like another thing, too, in the game where it's like you could be out on a mission, but other factions could see you kind of thing?
Yeah, if they're mad at you for something, they might come after you. Right. And when you go into... You'll know if you're in an off-limits area, even if you're not... If you keep the radar off, like I do sometimes.
Right.
Because your character will put their mask on.
Mm-hmm.
To become anonymous.
That's right.
And right now my mask is like black with like red paint all over it, but there's crazy ones like giant box heads and
pig masks, like a lot of animal stuff.
There are a lot. There's a lot of furry involved in this.
Yes, and also like metal skull masks, that kind of stuff.
Yeah, I just got the one that they show on one of the posters, which is like a skull with a crown.
Right.
I just found that. I think that was near where Parliament was bombed. I could be wrong.
Yeah.
Because that's one of the places that gets bombed in the story.
Any Guy Fawkes masks? I mean, there's London.
Not that I've seen yet.
Really? No V for Vendetta?
I imagine that's something you get rewarded for doing certain missions. Like, that sounds like that.
Yeah. Well, he actually did try to blow up Parliament. So.
I know. But that's why it would be... It's so iconic, plus the Mr. Robot thing.
Yeah, of course.
It just makes sense that would be a reward in the game.
Right.
We shall see.
Yeah. It'll be interesting. Like, it's an interesting concept of a game where it's so open world and you can actually recruit from so many different people, like whether it's an old lady or a spy or an assassin or a construction worker or whatever. Like, depending on what kind of mission. Like, if your mission needs a driver, you need to find somebody you can recruit to do that kind of stuff.
Yeah. Well... Not mostly.
Okay.
But if I'm just going from point to point and I want to like mess around in the game and like hack people while I'm driving.
Right.
The cars have auto drive, which they obey the traffic laws with
right.
auto drive, but you can mess around with people on the street. So what I like to do is I'll auto drive to a point that I need to go to.
Right.
And while I'm doing that, I'll like scan the people in the streets, or what's really fun is hacking cars to drive into the sidewalks.
So you could just like take over somebody's car and just like make it do whatever?
Yeah, like if you hold down the left bumper, LB, on the car, it'll give you an option of drive forward, drive backwards, drive left or right.
Right.
And I'll just choose to drive like whichever direction there's people just to mess with them. They freak out.
I'm sure they would.
Sometimes they get hit.
Yeah. But that's kind of a fun thing. But it seems like it's a weird kind of like you have fun stuff you can do, and you were telling me that you had fun missions you could do in the game.
Yeah, there's like side missions where you're just playing soccer, or there's you can get drunk and play darts.
Right.
For missions. There's like that was one of the ones I had to do to recruit somebody who didn't like me. Was I had to beat them in darts.
Oh, okay.
Which I did, but I don't think I was drunk when I played darts in that one.
Okay.
It's not easy. The soccer thing is also not easy. Like once you get to a certain point, it's ridiculous. But yeah, other ones where you're just you're changing propaganda signs or you're tagging walls,
right?
As like missions or destroying enemy vehicles. You can do that several ways. I'm a big fan of the drones, the cargo drones.
Okay.
You can use that to pick up certain items in the environment. I like to take the enemy vehicles and blow them up with explosive crates.
Nice.
Yeah. There's most wanted AI targets that are actually drones.
Right.
That are really tough fights. They're like boss battles, unless you have explosives nearby them. Explosives are a key element in this game, as you can tell.
Nice.
Bare knuckle boxing matches, which I'm just about to finish that little run of things. It's a lot of fun though. I mean, I showed Tim, I have a spy.
Right.
That has basically James Bond's gun with the silencer, the Walther PPK, right?
Walther PPK.
The smartwatch, not smart, but the spy watch that can jam enemy weapons,
Mhm.
which is an ability you get anyway, but it's just tied to a watch in this one.
Right.
And a car that has stealth technology and shoots missiles. And but I don't use her because her gun is lethal.
Right.
And I'm kind of playing non-lethal because I feel like these guys wouldn't want to just kill people.
Yeah, because they might be an activist kind of group, but they don't seem to be like in any kind of like going out to actually do harm to people. More like reveal problems with like certain organizations and so forth.
And that's what was weird. So like the first one didn't have that problem as bad.
Right.
Because the first one, you're Aiden Pierce, the most iconic character ever.
Yes, everybody knew him.
I just make fun of that because
It's a guy in a hat.
They had a marketing campaign tied to him.
Right.
And they kept everything about him, they referred to his hat or his bandana as his iconic hat or iconic bandana. Iconic Aiden Pierce. Anyway,
That was terrible.
He's on a revenge mission because, like, something bad happens. His wife and kids get killed, and he's going after their murderers.
Right.
And that's the mission.
Right.
Like, that's his objective. That's serious.
Right.
And in that one, most of the game is more serious. The second one, however,
right,
is about what big tech does with information.
Okay.
Which is crazy because we'll get into what Ubisoft was doing at that time.
Oh, really?
It's not bad. It's funny that they chose this. And you do that by, like, there's missions where you steal essentially the Knight Rider car. It's a talking car and you're driving it around the city.
Okay.
But then the next mission, you're breaking into FBI headquarters and they're trying to kill you. And you have to take them out. You can play that non-lethally or lethally, but it's still, like, it's big discrepancies.
Right.
This is a little more in the right direction of having it be not as humor-filled, I guess.
Yeah.
There's still some of it.
Yeah, of course.
But it's not as bad.
Right.
Most of it is more like gallows humor. Like your AI companion, Baxley, I think I'm getting right.
Okay.
Makes some jokes.
Okay.
It's weird that he's making jokes, which I think is going to be tied into that other story that was a spoiler that I was talking to you about earlier.
Right. Yeah, of course.
I think that's connected.
Okay.
But the problem is it's still a little jarring.
Okay.
And that's just like a story thing. I don't think you're going to be able to stop that and still have it be as fun. And after the first one, it can't be that dark because then it's just a depressing game. And it took place in Chicago.
Right.
They went so opposite between first and second. Like, first one was Chicago, and it was just everything was gray.
Right.
The second one was San Francisco and Silicon Valley, and everything was like bright and vibrant.
Right.
And now this is like London, and there's a lot of it's sort of near future London.
Right.
So there's a lot of like AI and
drones.
There's drones everywhere.
Right. Self-driving cars, that kind of thing.
Yep. But it's awesome. It's a great game. Aside from that one little thing, it's great. I have a paintball guy, like, running around shooting people with paint, and he throws grenades made of paint.
Right.
That distracts them.
Right, and he's like a graffiti artist. I mean, that's perfect. So it sounds like there's a lot of, and that the interesting thing about it is you can recruit anybody's, whether it's an old lady, like we were talking about, construction work and everything.
Even bad guys.
Right.
Like, you can get them on your side. You just have to work harder towards it.
Right. You can get a drug dealer to.
Yeah. He showed up. I saw a drug dealer, and I was like, I saw his gun before I saw his job description, and I almost recruited him because his gun looked really cool.
Right.
And then I was like, oh, no, not with my team, because I don't even know, there could even be repercussions for that.
That's true.
Depending on how much they've gone into it, like, maybe somebody on my team gets then addicted.
That's true.
Because there's spots where they'll get kidnapped, and you have to go save them.
Right. And also, if a member of your team gets arrested or whatever, or killed, now if they get killed, do they respawn?
So if you put on permadeath mode,
right,
which I did, they are gone forever.
Okay.
So you lose them forever.
Forever. But if you don't put that on, they eventually come back, or
they'll get. I think they'll get arrested, or they'll go to the hospital.
Right.
But you have like a time limit. I haven't had anybody go to the hospital or get arrested, but I've had the kidnap things where they haven't been available.
Right. Yeah, and that can be another mission to go save them as well.
Yeah, that's what it becomes, is like you have to find out where they are. And then sometimes for recruiting people, you'll have their friends have been kidnapped, or somebody stole their information, or somebody's blackmailing them, or they want you to go prove that you're on the side of good and hack into things, whatever. But yeah, it's a lot of just sort of adventuring. I don't think I've enjoyed a world this much in a while. I think it's just a cool, interesting place.
That's awesome. No. So, you're only, like, how far do you think you're into the game now?
Into the main story?
Right.
Probably like 10%.
Okay.
15%. Mostly what I've been doing is the side stuff. Going around collecting all the tech points to upgrade, but I don't ever use them.
Hacking people's cars, messing with other people.
Definitely. Driving down the streets, hacking ATMs randomly. I've got a shock hack ability now.
Right.
So I can hack and hurt people at the same time. So I just do that sometimes randomly to cops as I pass them.
So what, you like hack their vehicle and it shocks?
No, it's just like you hack their smartphone.
Okay.
And it shocks them.
Oh, really? So it just randomly could start electrocuting them?
Yep. Sometimes I'll hack drones so they just fall out of the sky. They don't explode or anything, but people freak out for no reason because all of a sudden there's this drone.
It just falls. Yeah, I would probably freak out too.
If I take over more areas, I'm gonna hack next the delivery drones.
Right.
Because I want to see if you can drop the packages, but you have to get an upgrade for that. And there's only you can only get certain drones you can hack depending on how much of London you've gotten on your side through side missions.
Okay.
So right now I think I can only hack 3 different types.
Gotcha. Alright.
Yeah. I mean, take over. You can hack them, nullify them for a few seconds.
Okay.
But you can't make certain things attack their side.
Oh, okay.
Or you can't hijack them.
Okay.
I was riding around in forklifts for a while. That was really fun. Not forklifts, cranes. I got in a crane, and I was testing to see if you could drive a motorcycle into it, and you can.
Okay.
But if it falls, that's no good.
Okay.
Because you have to control one thing at a time. So if I'm hacking and moving around the crane, and it rocks too fast, while I'm on the motorcycle, I fall out.
Okay.
So what I ended up having to do was drive the motorcycle in, get in, and then hack the crane and sort of go up.
Mm-hmm.
But what happened was the motorcycle fell out and it exploded. But just know that was one of the adventures I had in the world.
So you seem to be enjoying this. So we'll probably catch up with you later and find out how much further you've gotten in.
I'll do more of the stories. And
how many more recruits you get.
Oh, my list is full right now, but we'll see.
Right. So something else that came out last Friday. I was almost going to say Netflix, but Disney Plus released the new season of The Mandalorian. The first episode, kind of interesting, directed by Jon Favreau, written and directed by Jon Favreau. And he had done writing on the last season, but I don't think he had actually directed an episode.
I thought he did the first one.
I don't think so. I think that that might have been, I think a different person directed the first one. But I know he definitely directed this one.
Oh, yeah.
But
you could tell it had a real Cowboys and Aliens vibe.
It did. I was going to say Iron Man.
Sure.
Yeah, so this first episode, good. It was kind of just starts off it's like him and Baby Yoda. I know that some people refer to him as the child or baby or whatever, but he looks like a Baby Yoda to me, so I'm going to call him that.
People get real upset.
So just spoilers if you haven't seen the first episode yet, but starts off kind of recapping, he's looking for, I'm guessing, like, other Mandalorians that might know where Jedi are. So he's trying to, because now the Mandalorians are in hiding again because of what happened in the last season. A lot of them got killed. So he's trying to find Mandalorians out there that might lead him to these, these wizards or whatever called Jedi. That I guess the blacksmith had told him about, the Mandalorian blacksmith.
Yeah. So
it starts off, he's looking for some gangster. He goes to like this town where it's at a fight, and then they, of course, like try to like mess with him. He easily takes them out and pretty much takes out whoever else like at the arena. And also, I think is that John Leguizamo?
Yep.
Okay. Because it was hard to tell. I couldn't tell with like the voice or anything. I don't think it was his voice. But it's that plays the alien gangster is John Leguizamo. I thought that was pretty awesome.
There's another person that shows up.
Yes. So he finds out that there's a Mandalorian on Tatooine, and he was like, okay, so I'm going to go to Tatooine and find this guy. So he shows up. Amy Sedaris is back as the mechanic lady.
Yep.
She's great. Really funny.
She is.
Yeah. But, so from here we go, I'm trying to think, there's supposed to be a small town that he's trying to find that has this Mandalorian person. He goes there, kind of like does the whole Western new cowboy riding in the town. The townspeople are a bit wary. Walks into the saloon, meets the bartender, and now this is kind of interesting. So this guy he's talking to is also kind of a iconic Western person.
That's what I was going to say. I didn't know if you knew who that was.
I knew. I kind of recognized him a little bit. I was like, that guy sounds really familiar. So, this first bartender he meets is from Deadwood, and then the second person he meets looks like they're Boba Fett, like wearing Boba Fett's armor, but it turns out it takes his helmet off, and it's Timothy Oliphant from Deadwood.
Yeah.
Which I thought was amazing. I was like, it's like, that's so awesome. They kind of use these two Western guys to kind of like tell this thing. It's like, oh, the Marshal here wears Mandalorian armor, but he's not a Mandalorian, of course. It just happens to have Boba Fett's armor, and so he says that he bought it off some Jawas. So you're just like, the whole time you're thinking, oh, Boba Fett is dead. They found his armor or whatever. I guess the Sarlacc pit couldn't digest it or whatever, and they pretty much sold it to this guy. But it's kind of good. It like has like some great like flashbacks to like the second Death Star blowing up, and I'm pretty sure the Marshal is driving a pod racer engine that might be Anakin's.
That would be cool.
It kind of looked like, if not Anakin's, a definite like pod racer engine speeder. Because I was like, that's not like any kind of speeder bike, and I was like, it kind of looks like one of those weird things from Episode 1. So yeah, so they throw little Easter eggs and stuff in there. Anything you wanted to say? Or?
No, I just thought it was a really good episode, and it was definitely just really a classic Western tale, aside from the monster.
Yeah, which is a crate dragon, which is, I guess, like, it's a Star Wars thing. I've heard a lot of people talk about it. I don't really know enough about the expanded universe stuff to really comment on it.
I think it's from Knights of the Republic.
It might be, and I think it's shown up in other things too, like the Star Wars trading card games and stuff like that. But yeah, it's basically a giant sand lizard, like a dune sand lizard.
Yeah.
Basically.
I was going to say, or a tremor.
A tremor. That was the other thing I was thinking too, like tremors. It was kind of like that. And they almost kind of deal with it in the same way with explosives, like how Kevin Bacon killed it.
Yeah.
Spoilers for Tremors. But if you haven't seen that yet, but the basic thing is like they I like the parts where like they interact with the Sand People, and you kind of like they're kind of given more of a character like arc, and like Mando can actually speak their language a little bit more. I heard they actually had somebody from the American Sign Language Association help develop the Sand People like actual sign language and stuff. So it was kind of interesting to like kind of like see that aspect of it. And basically the townspeople don't get along with the Sand People, and the Mandalorians is like, listen, it's like you both want to get rid of this thing. It's like, yeah, they're brutal people, but so is like living in the desert. It's brutal out there, and they're all by themselves. So their ways are a little bit different, but they keep their word. So it becomes let's get all the townspeople, let's get all the Sand People together and kill this giant dragon thing. And I thought it was great.
And then something happens at the end.
Oh yes, then something happens at the end. So you go through the whole episode. The deal was the Marshal would give him the armor because it's a huge pride thing for Mandalorians. If you're not a Mandalorian, you don't wear that armor. So he wanted that back. He said, if I help you kill the dragon, I get that armor. And that happens, of course. They blow it up, but not after, like, it looked like they wiped out half the town and half the Sand People.
Yeah, there were a lot of people that died.
Yeah, a lot of people got eaten or got acid spit on them, and I was just like, is there any way to kill this thing? But they do kill it. They blow it up from the inside. They get some bombs in the middle of it. So basically at the very end, you see he gets the armor, he straps it to his bike, and he's riding off. And then you see a guy facing away from camera with a couple of like kind of like Sand People, like guns strapped to his back and like kind of in a poncho. And then he turns around, and now this is what people don't really know, that could be Boba Fett, which is pretty much what everybody's saying. You see the guy that they've, I really wish I could remember the actor's name, but he was in Aquaman. He was in all the episode prequel movies. He's like, I really wish I could remember his name. But basically, what you think is Boba Fett turns around and like walks off or whatever. Now, that could be him. It could also be a clone trooper.
Yeah.
Because there's also, like, people talk about that. That's a thing that came out later. A few clone troopers survived, even after, like, they took out their control chips and didn't try to kill Jedi and stuff. So this could be, if you know the Clone Wars cartoons, it could be Commander Cody, it could be Rex, it could be, like, any number of other, like, clone troopers. But everybody pretty much thinks that's actually Boba Fett.
And the rumors are that it is going to connect to the Clone Wars because Rosario Dawson might show up as Ahsoka Tano. Right.
And she's a character that was Anakin's Padawan, Anakin's apprentice during the Clone Wars and so forth, who actually left the Jedi Order. So.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Oh, I'm sorry.
I don't care.
Okay. Spoilers if you haven't seen the end of the Clone Wars cartoons. But, yeah.
Probably, because she agreed with Anakin, I guess?
No, she left because she didn't agree with the Jedi. She kind of was just like, even before kind of like everything that went down, she kind of said, I don't agree with anything that we're doing right now. Like, this isn't what Jedis are supposed to be doing. And so she ends up leaving and kind of is on her, like, the last story arc is like her going off for a while. And then she kind of comes back because she helps the Mandalorians. At one point, Darth Maul takes over Mandalore, and she goes with I don't think Anakin goes, but I think it's like her and like a bunch of clone troopers, and they go to free Mandalore from Darth Maul and like his troops and stuff, and put back into power like the actual Mandalorian people or whatever.
Oh wow!
Yeah, it's pretty good. Ray Parks actually comes back to motion capture the fight for Darth Maul.
Wow, that's really cool.
Yeah, yeah, and I think they even used the. I mean, he's been the voice actor for however long. For Darth Maul now, he was in. I think the guy they used for Solo too. And I really wish I could remember his name, but he's in the Force. He was Star Killer in those Force games.
Okay.
I think it's the Force Unleashed. Like he played that actor does the voice of Darth Maul and stuff.
Ray Parker Jr.
No, it's not Ray Parks. I
no,
forget
Ray
his...
Parker Jr.
No.
Like the Ghostbusters guy.
Yes, I know who you're talking about, but no. But it was actually pretty good. It was pretty decent, that last season. And I think that is the end for the Clone Wars cartoons.
Unless they connect with this?
It probably is. I mean, Ahsoka come back. The guy who's one of the producers on this, Dave Filoni, did all the Clone Wars cartoons and stuff. Like he's like pretty much handled like most of the stuff, and he's been in animation forever. He worked on King of the Hill, like all that stuff, Avatar, The Last Airbender, and he worked on this. And I think that's kind of what's made this really good, because I'm sure Jon Favreau doesn't know as much Star Wars lore and all that stuff. He probably knows a bit of it, but he seems to know he's like more of a story, I imagine, a story person. And then this guy kind of comes in and was like, well, we can sprinkle in this and this, and that's like Star Wars fans are like eating it up. I don't know.
I'm wondering if they're just going to put him in charge of Star Wars.
I could see that. I could see him like maybe taking over for the next like movies and stuff. But I think they're doing more of these series things.
Yeah, they could put him in charge of the Star Wars television expanded universe.
Right.
I don't know what else they're going to do.
I think they're going to do a few more like a Resistance show maybe. Like about after the rise of the new, what is it, the First Order? The new one?
First Order.
So like the rise of the First Order and the Resistance going against that maybe. Who knows?
They'll just make a really long Rogue One.
Yeah, exactly, like a really long version of Rogue One. But I'm up for it. If this was quality. I mean, it's not as much Baby Yoda as I'd like, but you know, he was there.
One episode.
He was there. He was just hanging out.
It can't just be Baby Yoda all the time.
It can be Baby Yoda. That's all I want to see. His cute little hiding in the spittoon at the bar. It's like, oh man, I'm scared.
He was.
Yeah.
You don't know if that was a spittoon? This is space.
That's true, but I'm betting it was a spittoon. I don't know if they have. Do they have space tobacco?
I don't know what they have.
Me neither.
Tatooine.
Yeah. There's a pot on the ground for some reason.
Wine.
No.
It's tattooed wine.
No. No, sir. I think you're mistaken. But I thought this was pretty good. Maybe the arc is going to be him meeting up with Boba Fett.
We'll see.
Because you never know what really happens to him.
Maybe he's going to meet up with Yoda.
No.
And Yoda fooled us all along.
No. Yoda's gone. This is after that.
Yeah, but maybe he's back.
As Baby Yoda?
Maybe, yeah.
I'm waiting for, like, they said he's like 50 years old, and I'm just waiting for him to be just acting like he can't talk. And be like, then he just breaks out with, it's like, talk I can.
He sings the Seagulls Stop It Now song.
Yes. Which is amazing.
Bad lip reading.
It's amazing. It's probably one of my favorite ones.
It's pretty good.
That one, if you watch any of the Walking Dead versions of that,
yeah,
those are pretty great. So there's that. I watched a little show over on Netflix called The Queen's Gambit. Really good. Like a dramatic miniseries. I'm pretty sure it's a one-off. They're not probably going to do a season 2. 7 episodes. It felt like a very long movie about, chess and that kind of like world, but also about someone's like a kind of like a young orphan's journey to dealing with all the problems that she's had to deal with and like emotional scarring and stuff by her family, like finding like this thing that she's really good at and maybe be one of the best in the world at, and just like it's almost like the Rocky 4 version of chess, because there's a part where it's like the best players in the world are Russian, so it's like the Russians and the Americans, and it takes place during like the 60s, so it's like I think it ends at like 67 or 68. I'm trying to think right now, but like it definitely represents that time period of like what was going on through the 60s and so forth. But really good, definitely worth checking out. Great acting, production, like some of the visuals on it. I was like, it made chess look interesting to look at.
Impossible.
I know, it was just like it's like a TV show about chess. It's just like, but they cut it perfectly. I think they probably did one of the best visual representations. And people were actually like, I'm sure like, wow, chess is actually interesting, but not really my game. It's a very complicated game. But have you ever played chess?
Yeah.
Do you like it?
Yeah. I'm not very good at it.
I'm not either.
I do enjoy it.
Okay. We should play sometime.
We could.
We could.
We just do an audio podcast where we smack talk.
Yeah.
And play chess.
Okay. Let's definitely do it.
Call it, I don't know.
Yeah.
I'll come up with it.
Rook to square 5. I forget, like each square has like a name and a number. A5. Check. But the main thing is the Queen's Gambit is apparently a strategy or a move. It's also based on a book. I don't think a series, but a single book. And originally this was going to be a Heath Ledger directed movie many years ago before he passed. But it had just been kind of like sitting around, I guess, in Hollywood. And then Netflix kind of grabbed it up and made their own series. But I think really good. Definitely worth checking out.
I believe it.
Yeah. So
searching for better audio would be the.
Searching for better audio.
Yeah.
Why
that would be because searching for Bobby Fischer.
Searching for Bobby Fischer. Okay. What? Oh, searching for Bobby.
That's what we would call the podcast.
Okay.
We just played chess and smack talked.
Okay. All right. When did that come out?
Searching for Bobby Fischer?
Yeah.
I was probably like early 90s.
I was going to say like late 80s, early 90s.
I remember seeing it in a movie theater.
Okay.
Not remembering much about it. But chess.
Yeah, okay. Sure. So this last little bit we want to talk about great legend. We were just talking about somebody who passed away, but Sean Connery, Sir Sean Connery, has passed away at the age of 90. Great long life, and I just like the first guy that I remember seeing as a kid and thinking that was a movie star. That's like growing up. I remember probably like the first movie I ever saw him. I don't know if it was Diamonds Are Forever or if it was Dr. No, because I used to always watch the TBS for like a long time. Used to do these things where they would, I think it was Memorial Day or one day out of the calendar year they would show like 2 or 3 days of like Bond movies, and I would just sit there and watch them like just in order for however many that they had or whatever. But Sean Connery was definitely my favorite Bond.
Yeah, well, definitely mine too. Probably the first one I saw was either Dr. No or Goldfinger.
Right.
Or it might have. My dad might have shown me Dr. No first. It was very likely that he would have done that, and then From Russia with Love, and then continued.
Yeah, From Russia with Love is a great one.
Yeah, he was the best Bond.
Yeah.
I don't think Daniel Craig's second, but
I have to say, and I do think that Daniel Craig kind of picked up on, I think, what Sean Connery's vibe was for those original Bond movies before it became like super gadgety and stuff, and just like kind of like not like he was intelligent, but also very, a little bit more brutal and could like get more into the fights and stuff like that.
And fallible.
Yeah.
Like, Connery Bond made mistakes, and Daniel Craig's Bond makes mistakes. I feel like that wasn't a thing with Brosnan.
Yeah, Brosnan was a little too perfect. And a lot of those, like, I felt like the later ones, they were more gadgety kind of stuff.
Roger Moore, I don't even know.
Roger Moore was kind of like the fun Bond.
He was the joke.
He was the joke. But,
With
I mean, he did
judo
some...
chops.
Yeah, he did some, like... There were some good ones in there, too.
Yeah.
And, I mean...
Live and Let Die.
Live and Let Die. That's a great one. Did he do On His Majesty's Secret Service?
I think that was Dalton, right? Or no, was that Lazenby? That was George Lazenby.
Oh, that was George Lazenby? Okay. Yeah. But, like those other Bonds were a little bit lighter and stuff.
Yeah.
And then they went really dark with Timothy Dalton for some reason. I don't know why.
It was the 80s.
It was, but like they went really... I remember there was... I think Felix Leiter gets eaten by a shark or something.
Sounds right.
Yeah. That was weird. But then
he's back in the Daniel Craig one, so it didn't matter.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, it's not like they killed off the character. I think it's just like his legs got eaten or something like that. It was weird. But Sean Connery, man, like, it was just like you saw that dude and you were like, just like, that's a cool guy, just in the tuxedos, and he's playing Baccarat or whatever. And just like that, I think, like, just if he had that alone, would have made him a legend. But the fact of, like, after Bond, like, all the stuff they did after Bond was just as amazing. And I think it was kind of like he kind of got to the point where it's like he was trying to make his own kind of image. And you remember, like, the other movies you saw, like, after?
Oh, yeah. Like, Medicine Man.
Yeah.
Entrapment. I mean,
oh, yeah.
When he was smooth talking. Finding Forrester. I mean...
Yeah.
That was a great movie.
Really good movie.
I don't think he was ever as the Hitchcock one, the one with it was him and Julie Andrews.
Oh,
Torn Curtain.
Yes.
Torn Curtain also.
Yes.
Yeah, I mean he was a great actor. I mean he had problems that people now feel the need to point out.
Oh yeah, and he himself has kind of admitted to those problems.
But he came from, he was 90.
Yeah.
Right? He came from a different era.
It's true. And he acknowledges, like, I don't think he ever thought he wasn't a flawed human being. He kind of admitted to that. I think even after those one comments, like, he had an interview with Barbara Walters and he said, like, he had, I think, had regret about, like the stuff he had said or whatever, and maybe it's just like you said, it's like that was the time he was from. Yeah,
and he got out. Like, I mean, he's been retired 15 years.
Yeah. I think he just decided I think he even asked if he was going to do any more movies, and I think he just said, I just can't remember the stuff, like the lines and stuff like he used to, and it's fine. I mean, for a while he was like, I remember there was like a few years he was just living in the Caribbean. I think there was a time period he was living in Spain, like all over the place. So I think he was really just enjoying his life. He didn't need to work anymore. He did what he needed to do.
Just wanted to relax.
Yeah.
It's just a shame it was a League of Extraordinary Gentlemen.
Oh.
It's just,
Well, what about the Avengers? And I'm not talking about Marvel's Avengers.
No, I know what you mean.
Oh, yes.
But I'm saying, like, the last thing he did.
Was that the last one?
I think it was his last movie.
I didn't think that was his last movie. Wow.
I think that might be how he went out.
No, and you know what? Some people actually really like that movie.
No.
I know.
Nobody in their right mind really liked that movie.
Some people do.
At least the Avengers was funny.
Yeah. Not in a great way, but in a interesting way.
a something way.
Yeah, and believe me, that had a lot of great actors in it. Uma Thurman, Ray Fiennes, um, yeah, and Sean Connery.
Yeah, the legend.
As the villain. I believe he had a weather machine he was going to take over the world with. I have no idea. I really don't remember that movie. I remember seeing it one time and just like, wow.
Yeah, that was his last major picture.
League of Extraordinary Gentlemen.
Apparently he did a narrator job on Modern Greeks.
Okay.
In 2007. And he did the voice work for From Russia with Love, the game.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
And, yeah, they used his likeness. And then something called Sir Billy he did voice work for.
I don't know that one.
In 2012.
Okay.
But, yeah, no, his last major role.
Okay.
Oh, man, yeah, I'm not even thinking. The Rock.
Oh, yeah, The Rock. Well, let's go through it. The Rock, the Untouchables.
Oh, yeah.
I think that's. Did he win the Oscar for the Untouchables?
I don't know if he did, but he should have.
Yeah. I mean, that one. The thing I remember him from the most, Highlander. He was great in that. He played this. I think they just Ramirez, the Spaniard, or something like that. It was, but he had a great part in that movie. We won't talk about Highlander 2.
Hunt for Red October.
Hunt for Red October.
Oh my God.
And, Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade. I think that was probably, like, one of my favorite roles because he plays so against character and, like, funny and kind of nerdy and, like, just really you could see he was having some fun with it. And who else would be Indiana Jones's dad but James Bond, of course.
Yeah.
Oh my God. But there's so many other, like, I'm trying to think. There's a lot of roles that he did. Like you were saying, Medicine Man, like, that was another great role.
I think he was up for an Oscar for that, too.
Probably. But he's done so many different, like, kind of just different roles, different things, and all of them were iconic in their own way.
Yeah.
I mean, anytime that, like, The Hunt for Red October, like, comes on, even if, like, I'm just flipping through the channels and I see it, like, playing, I'm just, like, you just kind of just watch it, no matter where you kind of, like, come into the story. It's such a great movie and such almost, like, a perfect movie. But, yeah. And Bond and all that stuff. I mean, he started off strong. I think he only had maybe, like, one or two roles before becoming James Bond. I don't think there was too much else.
Yeah, probably not. But then he made it its own. It was tough, I think, for him he didn't want to be typecast. That's why he left. But
yeah,
I think it's tough for somebody to take up the reins after that.
Oh yeah, definitely.
It's why Roger Moore, I'm sure, took it in such a different direction.
Yeah, and I think Lazenby was the first one, right?
Yeah, I think Lazenby was after him.
Right, and then Roger Moore took it over, and then I remember
Connery did one for another company.
Yeah, he came back to do it.
Never Say Never Again.
Right, and it was like I remember for a while that was the big Spectre couldn't be used because it was owned by another company and stuff like that. And I think for the last one he didn't want to wear the wig. Like I know that he had like told him, was like, I want to show James Bond aging and stuff. And I think that's might be like one of the reasons that he ended up not continuing or whatever. It's just like, no, I kind of want to show like that he's aging and like that he has to kind of like let this life go. But I think they kind of pushed against that.
Yeah. Which is weird.
Yeah.
But I guess they wanted him to be more a superhero than anything. And now what's strange is that everything about new James Bond is that it's back to him,
right,
aging and having problems and not being such a superhero.
Yeah, and losing like his first Casino Royale. I think he the what's her name dies at the end.
Yeah,
it's Ava Green.
Ava Green is but she doesn't die at the end of that. She dies. Doesn't she die in the beginning of the second one, Quantum of Solace?
No, I think she dies. Remember, I think she drowns to death. and then Quantum of Solace like picks up right
Okay.
after. I think
Maybe that's it. Yeah.
I don't. I get those last ones confused because it's such a weird one. It's not. I don't know. Quantum of Solace is not my favorite one. I think they were having problems with that movie.
That was Sam Mendes directed that, I think.
That
Or
one.
did he not come back for that one? Was that the problem?
I think that was the problem. Like he didn't come back for that one.
And then he came back for the third?
I think it's confusing.
I'll have to look it up later.
Yeah. Because the third one's Spectre, right?
Third one is Spectre, then Skyfall, or Skyfall, then Spectre.
No, yeah. It's Skyfall, then Spectre. So Quantum, Skyfall, Spectre, and then No Time to Die.
Yeah, which would be.
Which I heard they're shopping that around. Like I had heard at one point they were shopping into Netflix and Amazon.
I hope not. I know that they moved the release to March.
Yeah, but I had heard at one point that they were actually shopping it around to see if like anybody wanted just to buy it so they could like make money.
Same.
I know.
It's not the same.
It's not the same as seeing it in a theater, especially for a Bond movie.
Yeah. But you know what the problem is? Like, they go much longer and the whole thing is just going to be out there.
Yeah.
I'm surprised that you've got, what's her name? Maria Rambeau, talking about how she's the first 007, the first black female 007. And
Oh,
now,
she? Oh, really?
Yeah, like they have articles about it.
Well, I thought that she like they say that in one of the trailers.
No.
No, I thought that was something that was in one of the trailers. She's like that she took his job or whatever.
Maybe I missed it.
But I don't think that she said that I took your number. I took your...
now that's going around, so that's like a huge thing.
Right.
But, obviously, unless you're a clown, you know what's going on there, so...
Right.
I don't think that's going to be a permanent thing. I think that's... Or maybe it is, and he doesn't go by that name, or that number.
Right. Or I'm pretty sure this is it for Daniel Craig.
Yeah, but I don't...
Unless they back up a whole truckload of money. But I don't think he wants to do it anymore.
I don't think so either.
No.
Well, he said that the last 2 times.
Right. He did. But I think it's just like one of those things. It's like, what if we gave you this much money?
I don't think it's just that. I think part of it is probably the character. Like, people want him to be that character. And now they were talking about, who was it they were saying? Tom Hiddleston.
I know he was in talks to do it. Like, maybe even before, I think, this last movie, that he might take over the role.
I can kind of see it.
A little bit. But they just renewed, like, it hasn't even premiered yet, but Loki, the series, they renewed for a second season apparently already.
Has it even been shot?
It's I think has, like, some of it.
We'll see.
Yeah.
I mean...
Yeah. We'll see, like, how these WandaVision, Winter Soldier and the Falcon and Winter Soldier, whatever it's called, see how that all goes.
You know what's crazy?
Yeah.
I'm just thinking about it. It's been almost a full year, or probably over a full year.
Oh, yeah. No Marvel movie.
And literally, but not just that. I'm talking about Disney Plus.
Mm-hmm.
Has their only original series been that?
Well, no. I mean, I'm sure, like, kid series and stuff like that too.
But that's their tentpole thing for a full year, and their backup would have been Mulan.
Yeah.
And they charged more for that.
I know.
Man.
But Mulan I don't think ever was supposed to go to the platform. It was supposed to go to theaters.
It was supposed to go to theaters.
Right.
But because of this, I think it comes this month to regular Disney Plus anyway.
Yeah, I think it's like end of November.
Maybe I'll watch it then.
Maybe. I don't know.
Is Eddie Murphy in the director's cut?
Nope.
Okay, well then, maybe not.
But yeah, Sean Connery, just, I don't know, just a class act, amazing body of work.
A legend.
Yeah.
He's James Bond.
He's Dragonheart.
He's Dragonheart. Most people don't know that he's Dragonheart.
Oh, he is Dragonheart. I think they made like 4 of those movies.
What a movie.
Yes.
Oh, the one... If you guys haven't seen Dragonheart and you're younger...
Yes.
Just know that it was a product of the time of CGI looking like that.
Yeah. Yeah, I think it was like one of the first like CGI things.
Like a whole character.
Like a whole character interacting with like a live action kind of thing. I mean, for a long period of time. With
whole movie.
A whole movie with Dennis Quaid.
Was it Dennis Quaid?
It was Dennis Quaid. He was a knight, and Sean Connery was the dragon. Might go watch that later. But if you want to see some of his classic stuff, Untouchables, Highlander, Indiana Jones, Medicine Man, like we said, just great stuff. I mean, any of the Bonds that he was in were always great.
Finding Forrester,
great movie. I'm trying to think. There was like a few other ones, Hunt for Red October, but like besides like his big ones, I remember there was another movie he was in. Entrapment, but also yes, with
Catherine Zeta-Jones and lasers
and Ving Rhames, and
I remember the lasers more than Ving Rhames.
Yes, I do remember the lasers. He plays like a thief training, a master thief, I guess, training Catherine Zeta-Jones to be one
and fall in love with him.
Yes, and I'm just like the difference in age, and I'm just like, all right.
I'm pretty sure it was close to her marriage.
What?
She married Michael Douglas.
Michael Douglas.
Who's probably close to Connery's age. How old is he? He's got to be 70.
70s? Connery's was 90.
Still a massive difference. She was like 20-something. She was super young.
I don't know. Maybe. But I do remember at one point Sean Connery was almost cast as Gandalf in the Lord of the Rings movies. He was going to be originally Gandalf the Wizard. But I think at the last minute, I think he turned it down. Crazy.
Yeah, there's that's like one of the quotes I remember from him.
Mm-hmm.
Was that he's 76, by the way, Michael Douglas. She's 51, so it's a 25-year age difference.
All right.
When her first role was Mask of Zorro that I know of.
Oh, she was before that. I remember seeing her in that the Phantom movie with Billy Zane.
Was she in that?
She was. That was 90s.
Okay. But they were married at the time of Mask of Zorro.
Okay.
Which was 22 years ago.
Gotcha.
Which puts her at 27 or 29.
Okay.
And him at 54.
Okay.
It's weird.
All right.
It's weird, man.
Hey.
Anyway. I lost track of what I was saying.
No, it's okay. But yeah, a lot of his roles. I remember there was another movie he was in with Lawrence Fishburne.
Just Cause. And that was kind of like, I don't think he was a huge part of that movie, but I remember him being like a main character. And like I do remember a time he was like, he played a lot of supporting roles. Did that Rising Sun as well.
Rising Sun with Wesley Snipes. That was a great movie.
A lot of the same video in that movie over and over. I remember that.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, that was the Michael Crichton thing. They're analyzing a video. And,
right.
Because I remember seeing it in theaters when I was a kid and my parents having to be like, shut your eyes.
Yeah, shut your eyes. I was going to say, there's some stuff, there's some racy stuff in that movie.
That's all I remember of the movie was shut your eyes. So I don't think I ever saw it again. To be honest, I probably should watch it again because Michael Crichton.
Yeah, and I remember it being a decent movie.
He did a lot of Michael Crichton stuff too. He did The Great Train Robbery, right?
Did he?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
He was in that. And I think Michael Crichton directed that.
Yeah. And I think he was also up for the part in Jurassic Park.
Of the T-Rex?
Of the T-Rex. He was going to play either the T-Rex or one of the Velociraptors.
Nice. I would have watched it.
I would have too, but he was actually going to be Hammond. He was going to be the Hammond character.
I don't feel that. Oh, the quote though. So, this is, I'm going to abbreviate it because I won't remember it word for word, but he said that he was offered the Matrix, the part of Morpheus, and he turned it down because he didn't understand it.
Okay.
And this, when I get to where he goes with this, just trust me. And he was offered Lord of the Rings, and I think he was going to be Gandalf.
Okay.
And he turned it down because he didn't understand it. So then he was offered League of Extraordinary Gentlemen, and he didn't understand it, but he didn't turn it down.
Yes. I do remember him saying, like, there was disputes with him and the director on League of Extraordinary Gentlemen. Mainly because I imagine he was like, I read the source material, and this doesn't match it at all, but why is Tom Sawyer here? But, okay.
Why are we driving a car?
Yes. Yeah, there was a lot of stuff that was in that movie. I'm just like, sure.
You know the one good thing about him, that being his last feature, though, is that his character's little arc, you know, that's a nice thing to remember.
Him die?
He doesn't, remember? At the end, the grave is empty.
Oh, that's right. He does kind of like, yeah, because it was as long as he's on, I forget what the whole thing was, but a shaman said as long as he's on Africa, he can't ever be killed or something like that.
That's one positive, you know, is a way to look at it. Maybe that's why he left it that way.
It could be.
Because that's his last on camera.
Yeah. But he was, amazing. I remember, like, because my dad got me big into, like, the Bond movies, and I think that was probably our favorite Bond was Sean Connery.
Yeah.
But
most smart people's favorite Bond is Sean Connery.
But go check out, like, some of the... yes, most smart people.
If you're a clown, it's Lazenby.
That's right. No, I'm kidding.
Nobody's favorite is Lazenby.
Somebody likes Lazenby.
But he's never their favorite.
Their favorite. He was only in one movie.
It wouldn't matter.
Yeah.
He wasn't even recognizable. I think he looked just like the villain or something, I forget. There was something I was like, what's going on? These just look like 60s guys.
Yeah. Well, it was shot in, the 60s?
Yeah, I know, but they just look like 60s guys.
Okay.
The villains were iconic in the other James Bond movies.
That's right. Dr. Evil. Dr. No.
Dr. Evil?
Dr. Evil. There was a guy, Blofeld was kind of like the inspiration for...
Yeah, Donald Pleasance.
Yeah.
I don't know if he was in all of them as Blofeld, but...
I think he played one of the Blofelds.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But he's also, spoiler alert, the Doctor from Halloween.
Oh yeah, that's true. Yeah, I forgot about that.
Just like the original TV Batman Penguin was Mickey and Rocky. It's true.
It is true.
And the Riddler, for some reason, is in Last Action Hero.
Wait, what?
Frank Gorshin.
Frank Gorshin's in Last
Action Hero.
As what?
One of the random cops that gets blown up.
Okay. That's funny. Okay. Alright.
I don't know why I remember that.
That's... Sure. I believe you. So we say, bye, Mr. Connery. Sir Connery.
I have one little bit of trivia, though, for you. And this will be a nice, lighthearted way to know this. When I was a kid, I was stupid.
Okay.
Bear with me.
All right.
When I was a kid, my dad showed me the James Bond movies.
Right.
So he showed me, Dr. No and Goldfinger and From Russia with Love, and he was always like, yeah, Sean Connery. And he said Sean Connery.
Mm.
But I was a kid, and I would I had a lot of videos because we had a video store when I was a kid.
Right.
My dad had one. And I remember watching Medicine Man and seeing the cover being like, seen Connery. Because I didn't know how to read Sean the right way.
Okay.
Bear with me.
No, it makes sense.
And I didn't recognize that they were the same person because there was the 30 years of difference in age.
And hair.
So I didn't know that Sean and Sean Connery, in my mind, were the same person.
It's an honest mistake.
Just so you know. That's a true story. Also, Lorraine Bracco is the woman in Medicine Man.
Yes.
And Dr. Melfi in The Sopranos.
Oh, yes. Yeah, of course.
How crazy is that?
That is pretty crazy.
That's weird age difference as well.
Yeah. I do remember that, and that's a good movie too.
She's also in Hackers.
As what?
She's the head of the evil corporation that hires Fisher Stevens, star of Short Circuit 2.
Oh man, we won't talk about the Short Circuit 2 stuff.
Short Circuit 2 is amazing.
Circuit 1, yeah.
Do you not like Short Circuit 2?
It's all ridiculous.
It's one of my favorite movies from when I was a kid.
Honestly, those movies are insane.
How?
I almost wish they would make another one.
Could they make a sequel right now with him playing that character?
No.
Why not?
I believe he's playing somebody from India.
Maybe.
But he is not from India.
Are you sure?
Yes.
Have you asked him?
I've seen him in many other roles, and he is definitely not Indian.
You've seen him in like 3 other roles.
There's so many. Even Mark Gutenberg was just like, I'm out, man. I'm out.
Steve
Gutenberg, sorry.
Gutenberg's so irrelevant to the series, you don't even know his first name.
That's true. But the Goots was like, I'm done. It's like, I can't do this. I'm done. Short Circuit 1 is all I get.
Short Circuit 2 is so much better.
Short Circuit in the city. That's becomes an American citizen.
Short Circuit 2 has the best arc for the robot in a movie ever. Chappie, the entire movie of Chappie is based on Short Circuit 2, I would argue.
I can see that.
And then there's Little Robot Johnny Fives.
That's right. He's making them toy versions. I remember this whole premise was like they needed him to assemble all the toys for
selling them to department stores.
Right. Such a weird thing.
Such a great movie.
Weird movie.
I believe that Fisher Stevens did not play an offensive role, while he might have had the accent. There's nothing that makes him a bad character. Like, there's no problem with him.
True. But the fact that he's not that ethnicity.
But I don't think it's right to say that an actor can't play a role.
It's true.
I don't know. Maybe the ethnicity thing is a problem, but he doesn't play it in an offensive way.
Yes, but also...
He's the hero of the movie.
It's true. But also, I think that would go to a regular...
Now you couldn't make it.
You could definitely not make that now. Kind of like you could make Blazing Saddles now. Definitely not.
They did.
No, they didn't.
They did, bear with me.
Okay.
Everything that's offensive about Blazing Saddles is just as offensive in Django Unchained. Right? And in both of the stories, the people that are awful are bad.
True.
The people that are racist are bad.
True. And
he has a white sidekick.
All right.
Who's not racist or bad. That helps him.
Okay. But it's
just saying.
But it's not really a comedy, and there was a lot of other things in that too.
In both of them.
Yeah. I don't know.
I would argue.
I wouldn't.
I would argue that that's the closest they could come to making it, and I bet you that Tarantino probably did that because somebody told him he couldn't make Blazing Saddles again.
You think so?
I guarantee you it's something
so.
Stupid like that for Tarantino.
Probably.
And in a coke-fueled rage, he wrote the script for Django Unchained. Originally starring Will Smith.
Was it?
Yeah, they wanted Will Smith. But I think it was like a timing problem because he was working on probably After Earth.
Gemini Man?
No, not Gemini Man. After Earth, something worse.
Probably, yeah.
He's like, I can't. I'm doing the new Shyamalan film.
Yes. I'm gonna Shyamalan this up with the movie that Will Smith, I think, has never had a bad box office except for that movie. No,
starting with that movie. Until that movie.
Right. Like, that was one of his worst. I can't think of another one that he led that tanked as bad.
Well, before that.
Before that.
There you go.
Right.
Because I would argue that Gemini Man probably did worse.
Oh, really? It didn't make back it? You don't think it made back its money?
How could it?
Mm.
I didn't even see it. I saw After Earth in theaters.
Wow. That one I skipped.
No, I was like, it's a sci-fi movie with Will Smith. He hasn't done a bad one yet.
True.
And then he did.
Yeah.
I mean, even Suicide Squad.
That did well. I mean, it definitely made its money back.
Well, did After Earth? I'm sure it didn't cost much.
Yeah. I'm sure.
The supporting actor is the main character's son. Well, actually, I guess he's the supporting actor in that.
That's true. It's mostly about his kid.
Jaden.
Mm-hmm. All right. But we got on a weird tangent.
How's that guy made 2 movies and the Karate Kid is the better one? And he doesn't even do karate.
Yeah. Originally I think they were gonna call it the Kung Fu Kid.
They should have.
Yeah.
But it would brand recognizable.
That was always the stupid thing. I was just like, no, you should have just called it the Kung Fu Kid. I don't think it would have mattered. Yeah. Well, anyways, so hopefully Jaden will show up on the Rise of the Cobra Kai.
The Rise of Cobra. G.I. Joe, The Rise of Cobra Kai.
Yes, the Rise of Cobra Kai. The Rock's gonna show up.
Yep.
And just kick the crap out of everybody.
Well, The Rise of Cobra didn't have The Rock in it, did it? Wasn't the first one The Rise of Cobra?
I thought the new one was The Rise of Cobra.
What was the first one called then?
I think it was just G.I. Joe, wasn't it? I don't know.
Dennis Quaid was in it.
Yes.
He was not back for the second one.
And knowing is half the battle. Yeah, that was the weird one where they were running around in like Iron Man suits and stuff.
The second one... No, the first one.
The first one.
Because the first one had Marlon Wayans for no reason.
And, what's his name?
Joseph Gordon-Levitt.
No.
Yeah.
Really? As what?
Cobra Commander?
He was Cobra Commander?
Did you see G.I. Joe?
I did, but it's been a while and I tried to block it out.
He's at war on the side of Channing Tatum.
Right.
Something goes wrong.
Right.
And he gets killed. And then later on you find out that he's really Cobra Commander.
Yes.
Joseph Gordon-Levitt is Cobra Commander in G.I. Joe. How does that make you feel? Probably around the same time as Inception came out.
Oh, man. We won't talk about that. All right. All right.
Did I just ruin him for you?
Well, no, of course not. You could never ruin Robin for me.
He's not Robin. Don't call him Robin.
He's Robin.
And he's super dead.
No.
That nuke killed everybody in Gotham.
Nope.
It had to have.
Nope. Got it out. Didn't even kill Christian Bale.
I guess not.
He tipped a glass to his butler who raised him for years. I would go over there and throw that drink in his face and be like, I thought you were dead. I cried.
But you don't know if that's real. That could have just been his imagination. That's what Michael Caine said.
Yeah.
Alfred.
Yeah. But I'm sure it happened. Maybe. I don't know. It's like the part in the Inception at the very end where he's spinning the top. Could be real, could be fake.
Well, it might just have ended right after the cut.
Could be. But, so, we're way over time. But, as always, you can find us on the YouTubes. You can find us on Spreaker, Stitcher, and iTunes. We might be doing some changes where I'm still in the process of getting some video going, so check for that soon. I'm still doing Inktober, even though it's past the time, but I'm still plugging along. I'm going to finish up my last ones. It's been a little bit busy for both of us. You can find me at Tim Martinek on Instagram. You can find Bob.
I'm on Instagram at Bob J. Martin, Marton, and I am on Twitter at Martin_Bob. Exactly like that.
Exactly like that. And we'll talk to you guys next week. We'll probably have some more Watchdog stuff and probably talk a little bit more about The Mandalorian.
Yeah. I'll probably have a lot to talk about next week, depending on when we record.
That's true. There's some stuff coming out that I'm sure you want to. We'll talk
Everything.
about everything. Everything. Yeah.
It's like 6 major game releases next week.
Too many. Too many.
It is. And 2 systems.
We'll talk about it all. All right. Well, we'll see you guys. Bye. Jesus.
To do a little redesigning with us, you can find Bob at Martin, MARTON _BOB on Twitter, and you can find me on Instagram at Tim Martinek, all one word, TIMMARTINEC. And you can join in us, have some fun, do your redesigns for this week's redesign. It's a lot of fun for us to do this, but we like to see fresh ideas and fresh artists like doing what they do as well. You can also hashtag it Precarious Pixels and we'll find it as well.